Alright, hello and welcome back to Ashgabat Cat. Let's play that. Well, I was actually look at, but that's not a bad title. Alright, so today we have Gypsy Juggler. Yet another very basic looking game. Let's insert a coin. Well, that's not a sound I want to hear too many times. And press start. So, immediately we are controlling the little gypsy guy on the bottom. Oh, you have to press A to start the ball. Oh, every time you press A, a ball drops. So if you want to push it to the limit immediately, you just press A all you want. I'm going to play it safe by technically not even juggling and only juggle one ball. So he can even like hit it with his head. So you can turn this into like almost a game of hacky sack. You don't get a lot of air on your head for some reason. But now you start juggling like you're supposed to. And let's see. One thing I'm curious about, why would you not just do this? Why would you not just bounce it on your head the whole time? Like, there's got to be some sort of, like, mechanism against this. Is there any sort of timer? Oh, I see. You don't get points if you bounce it on your head. You do, however, get to waste time. So hitting your hand, 5 points. You don't lose points for using your head, at least. Let's see. Let's try doing 2 in a row. It's a little harder than it sounds. Now we're at 50, 55. Okay, that's fine. So I guess there's no real incentive to use more balls other than your pride. But I can kind of see this. Like, it's a video game in a bowling alley. You got all your friends around. You're like, hey, let's play this hip new thing called a video game. And they're like, I bet I could juggle more balls than you can. And you turn it into this little competitive game thing. Also, I'm sure you're getting a lot more points, because as you look at my points, like 900, it's going up by 100 now or something? Wow. Oh, geez. You get a lot more points for using 2 balls. Huh. Okay, so I guess that's the incentive for using more than 1 ball, but that's not a strong incentive, because, I mean, like, you could just do 1 ball and then play for the rest of your life. In fact, if you had nowhere to go, you probably just keep on doing it. Let's see if there's a hint on the demo screen, but it really doesn't look like it. And there's no scoring either, so, strange. Score 5,000 for extended play? I mean, this is the kind of game where, like, even playing it once is a little too much. Wow. So this is, like, real retro arcade game setups. Oh, wow. That's not happening. This is, like, a real retro arcade setup before they even realized that, like, the goal was to make as many quarters as possible. And then they figured out all the tips and tricks. Sadly, 4 is the most we can go. Now, it looks like you have some control over where all your balls are going, and you're pretty much going to have to use that, because, I mean, you hit all balls in different directions, and, like, that's it, game over. In fact, you do not want to just pop them all at once. So let's see. Oh, well, game over. But it looks like the best strategy is to kind of do 1 at a time for a little bit until you can control it. And then, from there, it's just fancy Pong, I guess. Let's see, I wonder... Adding more credits? No, okay. Sometimes in video games you can, like, add in more misses by adding in more money. Sort of a pay-to-play. Oh, that's bad. How was I doing so well before? Okay, that's not so bad. Okay, that's a little terrible. I also like how the bottom half of the screen has to be yellow. Like, his pants turn yellow at a certain point. And I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense. That looks fine. But, like, it's kind of hinting at some sort of technical limitation. That's, kind of strange how things were done back in the day when, like, displaying a different color in every line was not necessarily a given. I mean, you look at some of these YouTube videos on, like, how old computers worked, and, like, there were some real technical limitations that people had to deal with to make these games work even. Speaking of technical limitations, my juggling technique is very limited. Oh, I see. So if you bounce it on your head, then you kind of like screw up your timing. Wow. Well, unfortunately, I think I've really lost interest. Oh, well, that's... Oh, I see. So as you enter in more credits, then you kind of add in more players. And so if you've been noticing, we've been alternating between player 1, player 2. And so, yeah. Oh, same player plays again. I thought it was some player is pretty cool. It doesn't say that, but it'd be pretty sweet if it did. So yeah, as I earlier guessed, I mean, this game must, like, exist almost solely as, like... Well, okay, you can test your skills, but almost solely to, like, compete with your friends. And I mean, I can see old age video games kind of working like that, because I mean, what do you need to play a board game against them? But I mean, board games are half dice rolls, half a random chance. I guess you could actually go bowling if we're still in this hypothetical bowling alley, and well, okay, that's a pretty good way of demonstrating your skills. But maybe some people have a little more hand-eye coordination and not so much I don't know, ball throwing ability. So maybe bowling is just not going to do it for you. Maybe you just need the harsh, cold embrace of a CRT screen and a joystick. Actually, I wonder how many buttons this goes on. It's like you have the toss ball button. You have not much else. You pull some pro level tricks, toss them all at once. It's not as stupid as it sounds, because then like all the balls are kind of all in one place. So you don't have to move too far. The only catch is, as you saw, they kind of moved a little bit too far away from each other. So I believe it was actually impossible to actually get them all. So that's kind of a disappointment. Well, I mean, I'm going to be honest, there's not a lot more here to scratch. But as far as, like, a basic game, I mean, that's fine. Like if this is from the very beginning of gaming, where, like, people aren't even sure what games are even going to be, then, like, just having something like this to kind of show off, like one thing that's nice about games is it's incredibly easy to just get started. Now, granted, if you're in an arcade, it might be incredibly expensive to not know what you do and start getting started, but just kind of playing a game like this, I mean, it's you press a button to toss more balls in, you move left and right. Actually, I'm a little curious. Does it start out with any sort of balls? So, no it doesn't. And there's no timer. So I can, well, I was gonna say I can totally imagine a kid just trying to prank the bowling alley by just starting up a game and just leaving it. But then someone else can come in and play for free. So, like, are you really pranking them? Huh. But yeah, it's just such a harsh contrast to, like, all these games nowadays where, like, you gotta keep feeding in the quarters. There's always a time limit. Like, people have gotten very smart about, like, forcing you to, like, either be good and be playing or to be poor and keep feeding in credits. Alright, well, this was a nice little surprise. I'm kind of impressed with some of the stuff that we can find in this video game history. So, well, I believe that's all for Spot, was it? Alright, well, on that note, this cat's got a scat.